Google just dropped a technology that trashes everything we thought we knew about image modeling, completely out of nowhere. It recreates celebrities in massive group photos without a single reference image. It rebuilds a centuries-old painting into a modern setting with perfect storyline consistency. It can even take GPS coordinates and turn them into an actual photo of the correct building in Rake. And the wild part is that this was not some massive launch event. It landed out of nowhere, and the first reactions were basically, hold on, this looks like a AGI-level reasoning inside an image model. They call it Nano Banana Pro, or officially Gemini 3 Pro image, and it is the biggest leap in image generation we have seen since the entire field started. So let's talk about it. The first moment that made people stop and say, what is this, was the wild remake of William Hogarth's famous 18th century painting, Aakes Progress, but set in 2025. The original paintings chart a young man's rise and fall. Nano Banana Pro managed to recreate that same storytelling energy with a ridiculous amount of modern detail. The guy getting rich through Dogecoin, Monster Energy cans everywhere, an old Deliveroo job, therapeutic ketamine ads, NFT phases, failed life extension experiments, the gig economy, prison, OnlyFans burnout, ... and finally, a dopamine ward as the modern version of the madhouse. Every panel looks like something an illustrator would spend days refining, yet Nano Banana Pro just drops the entire sequence in seconds with the same consistency. When you compare it to the old Nano Banana or even Cadream 4.0, the difference is basically night and day. One of the main reasons for that jump is the fact that Nano Banana Pro pulls real-time data from Google search. The example with the shard in London was unbelievable. The stock score projected onto the building was not hallucinated. It was the actual result from that exact moment. When you ask it for a topographic map of London made out of embroidered felt, it gives you something with recognizable structure, not random shapes pretending to be geography, something you'd actually see hanging in a restaurant. Yes, some distant skyline structures don't line up perfectly, but considering the entire thing is grounded in live search, this is a new level of realism for generative tools. Where things get even more interesting is how it handles composition. Drop in Goku, Spongebob, and Squirtle. Ask for a professional IMAX double exposure action poster. It not only blends the styles correctly, it has them interact in ways that make sense. Goku firing an attack, Spongebob countering Squirtle, spinning water off to the side, all tucked into layered exposure effects that actually look like real poster art. Using the same prompt on Cadream 4.0, looks like something from early 2023, just completely disconnected. Ideas thrown together. Google has effectively owned this specific category for the moment. Of course, these upgrades come with some scaling differences. The Gemini 3 Pro image tier is more expensive to run. At high resolution, it's about 7 or 8 times the cost of the original Nano Banana, and about 3 or 4 times the price at medium resolutions. It's not the fastest model either, but here's a comparison. When you stack it up against OpenAI's high-resolution image model, Nano Banana Pro still ends up cheaper. Google also introduced SynthID into the mix, embedding an invisible watermark into every image. You can upload any picture into the Gemini app and ask it whether Nano Banana Pro created it. How deep the model goes is clear just from the infographic examples. The model is not just drawing, it is reasoning. It creates Black Death maps with correct dates, historical spreads, and clever visual effects. This is where the danger begins. A single wrong word, like spared under Paris, can slip in, even though 99% of the map is perfect. And because the model is so good, people might not double-check the final details. The closer these models get to perfection, the easier it is for users to be misled by tiny inaccuracies. Spatial awareness is the other massive jump the model made. Drop a photo of a hedgehog and ask the model to place it into a picture of a cottage doorway with matching lighting and a man looking down at it. Nano Banana Pro positions the animal almost exactly how you would mentally place it. The original Nano Banana from just a few months ago did something that barely resembled the scene. Nano Banana Pro feels like it understands physical space instead of just pattern-matching shapes. The comic strip example takes this capability even further. Give it a mouse character you created years ago in Mid. Tell it to generate a 4-panel comic with a turtle, consistent personalities, speech bubbles, and a punchline, and it just does it. The mouse keeps the satchel. The turtle stays grumpy. The slang stays consistent across panels. Then you continue with a new prompt asking for a second story, but on a medieval galleon, and the personalities stay intact. Sure, a hat might disappear, but it is functioning as if it understands continuity on a higher level. What really separates Nano Banana Pro is the amount of control it gives you. You can adjust camera angles, depth of field, lighting conditions, and color grading. You can swap outfits across scenes, change day to night, manipulate the bokeh background blur. It even supports 2K and 4K resolutions with proper aspect ratios, ranging from ultra-wide cinematic to square. For editing, you can draw over a photo and force the model to add specific details exactly where you marked them. Change a girl's photo by adding a cowboy hat, and it will even adjust the reflection of the new guitar on the table's surface. Perhaps the wildest demo is how well it handles real-world data. Upload a Google Analytics screenshot and tell it to inflate your clicks to 90,000 and impressions to 1.2 million, and also update the graph to match the new numbers. The model changes the axis, updates the curve, and keeps the layout perfectly aligned. This is something the older models couldn't even touch. It even turns tables of benchmark numbers into graphs, perfectly matching categories like MMLU Pro, GPQA Diamond, and keeping colors and labels accurate. This is not pattern guessing. This is understanding the underlying numerical structure. The final area where the model flexes is world grounding. Paste coordinates from Hong Kong. It generates the correct building, the skyline behind it, the specific street layout, and even the atmosphere of the district you pointed at. Other models only produce generic Hong Kong streets with random skyscrapers. If you upload a photo of an apartment, it produces a 2D floor plan that matches the layout almost exactly. So, is it flawless? No, it still cannot get clock times right. You can ask for 11:15 in a wine glass filled to the top. It fills the wine glass, but the clock lands on some random time. This weakness shows up in every model. Looking at all this, what do you think Google is really aiming for with this jump? Is this just a better image model, or is it a bridge on the road to AGI? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.